Jason?
What if you come on tour with me?
You want me to open up for your band? So what is up with Evites? What's up with it? Jason, I can't just eject out of my life.
I'm starting to think you take some time off. Gives you a chance to reboot.
We're here.
We're not going on the bus?
No. The bus?
Yeah.
The bus is like 25 grand a week, man.
Let's hear your list.
5 Neil Young. We got 4 Cat Stevens.
Cat Stevens?
What do you mean fumble?
That's
What do you mean?
Fumble. You're really good up there tonight. I'm Paul, by the way.
Bryn, very funny.
This room is not built for comedy. Oh! That's a dildo.
She gets it. No, I told her this is about getting your mojo back.
You told her that?
No. I mean, not that.
Tell us a joke.
I usually do that on stage. Have you heard of Evites? One friend said no +1.
It's funny because it's true, I suppose.
Sorry that frustrates you. I'm sorry I can't lock it down like you can, okay?
Are we cool? Do you remember when I had to convince you to go riding ATVs with John Popper? Neither of us are trying to John Popper. Just do this with me. This will be great.
Okay, so I only have magnums. That's cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, magnums are
Magnums.
great. Yeah, I use magnums all
Solid
the time.
brand.
Wow. Yeah. It's quite an audience you got here. Wow, that's your face.
Becomes the man, becomes the hair, becomes the beard, becomes the man. That's great.
It's a good poster. We like it.
What do you guys think of the poster? All right.
They're reserving judgment.
That means clap, jerks.
Clap, jerks. Clap at the poster.
Guys,
You can't call the audience jerks. They don't like that.
I know, I'm sorry. But he was asking you to clap. Guys, congratulations on the movie. I got to see it last year at Tribeca. It's wonderful. I think it's great. I am personally obsessed with failure all the time and fear of failure, and that's exactly what I feel like this movie is a lot about. I know you were a stand-up comedian. Is that where this mostly came from?
Yeah, a lot of this came from sort of an interpersonal struggle I had as a stand-up comedian. I went through I think a lot of comedians go through this. I know Louis C.K. talks a lot about this, where you go through this sort of first phase of your career where you get up the courage to go on stage and you tell jokes, and your jokes are about airplanes and airports and, you know, Evites, which is a big joke in this movie. And at some point you hit a wall because it's not really personal. It's not really about what your real life is about. And so it was about kind of needing to hit that next level, which is what the main character goes through. And then I have a real-life friend that Wyatt here plays, sort of an amalgamation of him. The Jason Black character is based upon a friend of mine named Adam Ezra, who wrote a lot of the original music for the film. Again, Wyatt plays all the music in the film live.
Well, you kill it. You do a wonderful job playing all the music.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, and then, so sort of about a buddy of mine was once like, hey, dude, I'm going on tour. You want to be my opening act? And I was like, no, that's never good, because stand-up comedy before music is always terrible. And but I thought
the combination of stand-up comedian, which is someone riddled with neurosis and insecurity, and a rock star who's just sort of casual and going through and performing with people seems like a bit of a calamity as well. Was it that for you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, the rock star always gets the girl, and the comedian gets to hang out with other comedians after the show.
Just get more and more bitter and angry.
You just get more bitter and angry and upset until it consumes you and ends your life.
Or you start a Kickstarter and make a great movie about it.
Yeah.
Talk about that period of time, though, for comedians that you said Louis C.K. was talking about. I think that's fascinating, that bridge between telling jokes that aren't personal to you in that personal moment. Because when you first start being a comedian or first start going out to do it and doing stand-up, you're doing open mics where everybody is watching just going, tell the joke. Nobody wants to hear your personal bullshit. So how did you actually bridge that gap?
Well, that's a good observation. That's sort of the irony of stand-up when you start off is everyone, even like people that own like the clubs, like Zanies or the Improv, right? There's sort of a demand for like, we want jokes. We want little, we want a joke every 20 seconds. And it's like bits, as comedians call their jokes bits. But the best comedians, and this is in the script, some of it was edited out actually, but the Richard Pryors, the Louis C.K.'s, these guys are more storytellers. They tell long, their bits are more like 2 to 3 minutes each. But when you're starting off as a comedian, you get a 3-minute set. You want to have like 30 funny jokes in 3 minutes. And so that ends up getting a lot of that kind of, you ever notice the thing with that? And that's it's like set up punchline, which the character Paul talks about in the movie as well. Yeah.
Wyatt, talk about playing a rock star. Were you excited to play a rock star?
Yeah, I think everybody's excited to play a rock star. It's what we all aspire and dream to be, and most of us will never become. So it's better to play one on TV than to actually be one. So you get paid. When I was playing on stage, Meredith always, who plays Bryn in the movie, always makes the joke that when we're playing on stage, they hire extras to come and clap for you. So after you're done, you're like, wow, everyone really loved my music. And then it was like, oh, no, wait, you're all getting paid $50, to clap for me. So I didn't get the full effect of what it was like to be the adored true rock star, but it was fun to be able to
the usual story of how the actor starts the band in his side life. Like he played it, and like, everyone loved
my music in my last movie.
I decided to start this band P. Let's do it, guys.
Extras love the music.
Right. I forgot that I have to actually learn how to play the instrument first.
Did you know how to play?
There's no backing track.
Did you know how to play?
Yeah, I knew how to play. I'd played guitar since I was 12 or 13 years old, and it was like a big passion in my life. Wanted to do everything. You guys probably don't know who Dwayne Allman is, but Allman Brothers are, he's my favorite guitar player. And it was a big part of my life. And then
do the famous. Do you do that on your guitar all the time?
That's Dickie Betts.
Oh, that's Dick. Excuse me.
That's Dickie Betts.
Late stage Allman Brothers. Later Allman Brothers.
That's just after Dwayne passed away. So that was like.
I apologize.
No.
That's a big.
Believe me, I'm not in the middle of the feud
up there.
Yeah, I'm not in the middle of that feud. But that's a great song. And no, I cannot play that song. It's but it's an amazing song. I can sing it all. We don't have time for that. But anyway, yeah, so when I got the opportunity, we got 14 and a half minutes.
Yeah, that's only a 10-minute song.
Wyatt, will you?
So then when I got the opportunity to play this character, it called for Jeff wanted the music to be live. And I thought that was a great thing to aspire to be able to do, and I had been writing music since I was 17, 18 years old. I always did it for myself. I never did it for anybody else. It was a personal experience, and being able to, I don't know, sort of share it and show people like, I think I can do it, and you guys be the judge. But
I'll pay you $50 to be the judge.
yeah. But it was a great experience, and.
So Jeff, this started as a Kickstarter for you, right? Mm-hmm. And how did that go? I mean, obviously it went well. You made the film, but why did you start with Kickstarter?
Well, it was my first film as a writer-director. I'd acted in some stuff and produced a couple films, and felt like you have one opportunity to ask the world for a handout. And we wanted to create a community of people that were excited about making the film. I think Kickstarter is a great way it really is to kickstart. I don't think you can. Like, for most movies, you can't raise all the money to make the film off of Kickstarter. We raised $50,000, which was actually quite a bit. The people from Kickstarter actually literally called me up and said, that's a lot of money to raise. That's actually more than most films successfully raise. And if you know Kickstarter, you either raise all the money or none of it at all. So that made us nervous. But we worked our butts off, got the money, had over 500 different donors. And it really gave us the freedom to go out and scout for the movie, hire a lawyer, all that kind of boring stuff. Start hiring a casting director to find this guy and Meredith and Alex. And so it was a good experience. But it's a lot of hard work as well.
How did you end up settling on Wyatt and Alex? I mean, the two of you are great together.
Settle is a good word.
My bad.
Well, a lot of bigger actors
McConaughey was unavailable.
I started off with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Deciding to work.
No. McConaughey, no. And then no, I was kidding. No.
Cheech Marin, no. So we went with
Cheech Marin. Cheech Marin was third on the list.
That's a good sequel.
These guys don't know who Cheech Marin is. That's clear.
Probably better that you don't.
Do you guys watch the show Girls? Yeah? Yeah, a little few girls viewers. So Alex Karpovsky's from Girls. Plays. This audience is still getting used to us.
Clearly, we don't pay them. We don't pay them $50. Clearly,
it's okay.
There you go. That was they handed them the money right there. That was where the check just cleared, went to their Venmo account.
That was a reminder. Oh yes, you do.
Make us feel good on the AOL build. So Ray from Girls, Alex Karpovsky. I was very familiar with his work from that show, which I always loved. Just ended. And I met him at a film festival. He directed his own road trip movie. And we became Facebook friends. You guys have heard of Facebook, right? I thought so. Now I'm tapping into that younger generation. And Instagram would be cooler, though, right? Right, yeah, that's cooler. Snapchat, even cooler. What's next?
What is next?
What is next,
Anybody
guys?
got any ideas?
Twitter? You guys, Twitter's old school, isn't it? What about AOL? Is that kind of old school?
No.
AOL's coming back, though.
It's a platform culture, not a content culture.
Right.
That's what we're learning right now.
Good party line there. Platform culture it is. And so, as I was saying, Alex Karpovsky, I met him at a film festival. We hung out, had a couple drinks, and then became Facebook friends. And a year later, I asked him some questions about shooting a road trip movie, and then he said, "Send me the script." I sent him the script. I secretly wanted to cast him, but didn't want to ask so directly. And then he wrote back, "I like the script. Have you cast it yet?" And I said, "No. Are you curious about any of the roles?" He's like, "I like the idea. I like that role of Paul." And I said, "I wrote it for myself, but if you want to be in the movie, it's yours." And that started the process, and he came on board.
So you were going to be playing the part before. Was it a big decision for you to take yourself out of it, or was it kind of a relief to not have to be in front and behind the camera?
It was weird. It was a relief, and it just felt right. I don't know why. I don't know if it was another actor, I would have made that decision. I just really liked Alex's work for a long period of time, so it was just like, if he wants to do it, I'll do it. Otherwise, I was going to do it myself.
I would imagine it was also, I mean, as much as everybody on the set is also a filmmaker, this is your first film. Alex has made, 4 or 5, I think, low-budget indie features at this point. It was probably a bit of a benefit to have him in front of the camera and maybe there as a supporter and friend as well.
Yeah, I mean, he was a real, yeah, exactly. He was a filmmaker as well. So there was days on set where he was, talking to the AD for me, or, and Wyatt's a filmmaker and a writer, and so is Meredith is a writer as well. And so in a way, you got kind of 3 or 4 filmmaker brains kind of turning into one kind of super Voltron director. And, I got that joke totally did not work. You could see why I could write a movie about a failed stand-up so easily.
Platform audience, they don't know Voltron.
Platform audience, I get it. Snapchat was popular. That's about all I'm going to get out of them today. Yes, they love it. I could say I got one more left, and then it's gonna peter out.
But that was part of what was fun about, not just fun, but what was great about making a movie with Jeff is that I think he's able to see people that he thinks are talented, whether or not it's up to you guys, but we all thought that we had a good team together, and I think Jeff was the person that assembled that team. Assembling that team takes, I think, a lot of talent and humility, and being able to know what you want, but then be able to give some leeway to those people who you've hired to do the job, and he was awesome at saying, "That's great. I don't work on that a little bit or go in that direction." There was never like no, and that's I think something that all the really great directors that I've been able to work with have in common, that Jeff has in common with, like a Richard Linklater, is someone who doesn't say no. They don't go, "No, that's a bad idea," and then it becomes about them. And you're like, "Well, that wasn't what I meant. I could have, like..."
Why would you ever do that to someone on a set? That seems like such a...
Egos do incredible things.
At least find a way to say no without using the words no. If you're like
you'd think that would be an easy thing to do. And for some people, it's not necessarily that, where you put somebody in that position of power, and sometimes you get that ego talking, and it's not even necessarily the person that you had met before. And it can shut down creativity in a way that, even if it is a bad idea, like, that's okay. It's a bad idea. It's fine, whatever. And go in a little different direction. And then, or like, we were writing these things on our binders for our script that we go home every night and like writing funny quotes, like, as if you're some important person who has a quote on the front of your binder. And Jeff's quote was, what was it? It was,
I was like, "I have an idea. What if we tried the words I wrote?"
like, try one the way it's in the script. So like, it was a fun, incredible back and forth that way with him as the leader, as going, "Yeah, I really liked that," or, "I don't know, that's an interesting idea, but what if we tried it this way?" And it was, I thought he was really great at that.
Did you know Alex before working on the film?
No. I'd never met
You
him.
guys have a great rapport in the film.
He's just an easy person to get along with. He's a really super smart, thoughtful, deep guy, and he cares about the work. He cares about the work. He really, really cares. And he's also like, it wasn't like he didn't take things like so seriously. You know, it was all part of the fun of movie making. It was part of the joyous process of what I feel like supposed to be. So it was really easy. He's an easy person to get along with.
Your character is, I think, somewhat infuriating for people who try really hard to be successful at things. He, as much as he may have worked hard to become a successful musician, it very much comes across for a lot of the film that things kind of come easy for him. And popularity and I think success come easy for him. Was that something that you were tapping into or thinking about while you were playing this character? Did you see him as someone who worked hard?
It was something that Jeff wanted, I think, out of the character, was that like everything just sort of happened for him. And I think that there's an element of that that in a way that people for me and rightfully so in certain ways feel like, is this the way it is? Because all they ever see is the facade of it. You don't, nor should you care to dig into my past to care about what I did. I'm just here to make you laugh or make you cry or whatever, make you feel something. And I think with Jason, what I liked about it was that I got the opportunity to make towards the end of the movie to make that character a little bit more relatable and dig past, peel the onion away and go, oh, he's got problems. And that, like, sometimes talent can carry you so far, but if you don't break out of the cycle of where none of you guys are there yet, but if you don't break out of the cycle of going, I need to be more than. I need to be more than what people think I am. I need to be more than what people say I am. I need to be more than that. And the only person that'll ever know how to say that to you is yourself. And when Paul is talking to him at the end of the movie, he's finally getting the truth from someone that loves him, that cares about him. And it peels that onion away a little bit, just a little bit, to go, okay, you know, it's a different chapter of life is starting now. And I thought that was like an interesting thing in the movie.
It's such a weird thing. I feel like I've been on both sides of that feeling of like someone thinks that something came really easy for me, or I'm looking at someone else as like, that came really easy for you, fuck you. And it's such a weird moment when someone says somehow to you like, oh, everything comes easy for you. You're like, what do you, wait.
Because you live your
what?
own experience. You're like, wait, what about the heroin addict that I lived with in Holland? Dude, like I had to watch shoot up heroin. That wasn't easy. But it was part of my life and it's part of my own thing, but not that anybody has to care about it. But
I would like to know more about this story.
Yeah.
I haven't lived with a heroin
Harm,
addict personally.
if Harm Diekwikema figured out how to hook up an internet connection in Holland, hi Harm, and I'm very happy that you're still alive. But
wait, is that a guess that he's still alive, or you know he's?
I don't know if Harm. I don't know what Harm's going on. The building I lived in was torn down.
That means he's alive, and you're happy that he's.
I'm so happy. I miss you, man. And he walked into my room the last night we were there, and he gave me a Jimi Hendrix book of a book that Jimi Hendrix had given him in the 70s. Now I have no idea if it's actually true or not, but I'm totally going with that for the rest of my life. And he was a special guy. I'll leave it at that.
Jeff, what was after you got the money, after you get on set, you're working with this great and talented crew. What was the toughest part of making the film for you?
I think we really had a pretty blessed shoot. I mean, everything kind of fell in place. I think the hardest thing about this movie is it's a road movie, so you have to basically change locations like every single day. You're doing 2 to 3 company moves a day, so it's just a lot of that going on, a lot of moving around. But it wasn't that hard, to be honest. I think the hardest thing about getting the movie together was really raising that money. And, maybe just the long... I mean, this is a movie that we shot 2 years ago. It came out to Tribeca last year. And now we are here with it, about to come out in a couple weeks. You can pre-order it in iTunes now. Get all the bonus features and whatnot. But...
What does that feel like to have this whole process, this gestating process, go on for now 3 or 4 years? As you're out here doing press for it and it's coming out, do you feel like you've finally released this story that you had in your head, or did you feel that way when you premiered it the first time?
Yeah, I think really it's when you see the dailies, it starts to feel real. And then you see the movie in its final form. But I think it's that first time you see like actors saying your words and it's on a real camera lens. It's sort of like, oh wow, those words I wrote on a paper, like they became this. That's a pretty awesome feeling. I mean, for any of you guys that are out there thinking about creating something, it does really start with just like writing something on a piece of paper. And then all of a sudden, like years later, that's a thing. It's a movie. You know, that's a pretty gratifying experience. Yeah.
There was going back to stand-up, there was a stand-up here just a couple weeks ago who said they do a special or try to do a special every year because they can't move on from the material until they've put it out in some capacity, be it like an album or a special of some kind. And it's such a different thing when I think it comes to making a film because the process is script, raise money, shooting, editing, and then distribution, and then release. So it's like this 3-4 year process. Well,
I'm going through this experience too. I'm releasing a comedy album on May 2nd. So they happen to be kind of coming out around the same time. So it'll be a really weird, it's sort of a setup for failure experience because it'll be like, you know the guy that wrote the movie about a failed comedian? Well, he just came out with a really crappy stand-up special. So hopefully it's not bad. You can, if you follow me on Twitter at Jeff Grace, that'll be out in like 2 weeks. But and this is like on May 12th. But yeah, I do understand that. It's like, I think part of the process of making movies, it's just the medium that takes a long time. I think all filmmakers I know are like, by the time the movie comes out, you're like, I've already like sat with this thing a bazillion times. I've seen the movie 50, 60 times, which I recommend you all see as many. And
in the theater and then buy it on iTunes.
Yeah, you see in the theater 4 or 5 times, and then I'd watch it at home on different platforms because it's still a little different on each platform.
It's like Titanic.
Until you spend about $150 on the film, and then you should
exactly like Titanic.
It is.
Here on Funny Guy, see it again for the first time.
It comes out the weekend after Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think with your guys' help, we can unseat them.
What? Your dad is in Guardians of the Galaxy. Have you seen it yet?
I have. It's fantastic. They'll take my firstborn child if I say anything about the movie, but it's awesome.
I've seen it too. It's wonderful.
And if you see that movie, you're gonna love our movie. Well, yeah.
Tie it to that, you know.
Yeah, tie it to this.
This is a spiritual
hashtag
companion.
Guardians of the Galaxy to Folk Hero Funny Guy, all one word.
You're not going to really understand Guardians of the Galaxy until you see this right after.
Totally.
This is the Easter egg for Guardians of the
It's
Galaxy
Easter egg
Volume 2. Yeah.
That's how we like to bill it.
Let's get some questions from the audience. Who is right here? You're walking with a microphone.
Hey guys, so I was just wondering, since this is your first film as a director, like, was there anything that you got to take out of that experience for you?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, and we were talking about this in another interview today, was just that when you basically become a director by saying, I am a director now. I never went to film school either. So you sort of just have to say, I'm a director, and then when it comes like the night before shooting, you go, am I a director? Do I know what I'm doing? And that kind of imposter syndrome or that self-doubt, I think having made a movie now, you're like, all right, I know how to do that. But that isn't to say that happens again every time you write a script. Or I was talking to someone else about a movie I want to make, and I was like, I think this could be a good idea, or it could be like a really horrible idea, but I don't know. You know, so I think you're always in that state of self-doubt a little bit. But I feel like you direct a feature, you can always feel like, all right, I know I can direct another one. Yeah.
Next question. Right here.
Did your parents ever pressure you to become an actor?
No, never. And
a hockey player for a while. Right?
I was a ice hockey player and didn't want to have anything to do with acting. It's not. I would highly advise anybody who wants to get into acting before the age of like 18, don't do it.
What if she wants to become an actor?
Do you want to become an actor? And are you interested in it?
Kind of.
Kind of? Well, here's my advice. I would go to school.
Give it to a real one.
Forget about it right now. Go to school, have an awesome time, be a good person, love your friends, love your family, go to college. If you want, leave college early because then you'll figure out college, like, it's important, but you can do it later. And then travel to somewhere awesome.
To Denmark?
No, I won't go to Denmark.
Where you have the heroin roommate?
Yeah. Don't go to Holland or Denmark. Don't go one of the Scandinavian countries. Go to, like, somewhere cool, somewhere hot, somewhere where nobody looks like you. Live there for like a year, and then come back, and then start acting. And I think that you'll be a much better actor. Yeah, write that down.
No,
don't worry.
Not.
I'll give you a copy of this interview. But that's a very good question. And no, they did not ever pressure me into acting.
Good question.
I think we have time for one more question. Who's got a microphone? Right there.
Oh. Going back to the movie, my main question was, how was it stepping into your character's shoes? Like, how did it feel? Did you have any fun with it? Like, what was your experience?
I had a lot. I have fun doing every movie I do. I try to have fun doing every movie I do because I think that's part of the most important thing about the whole process of making movies is the fact that I'm very lucky to do what I do. It's the greatest job I can think of. It really is. With this particular character, I love the fact that I could play music. I love the fact that I could play guitar, and it's a talent of something that I always respected when I saw other people be able to do because I knew you had to put in a lot of time to be good. You couldn't just walk out and play guitar. So I was really excited about the fact that that was something that I'd be able to do, and that all the people that I was working with, Jeff and the other actors, were going to be able to make that experience even better than what I could imagine it ever being. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Guys, how can people see Folk Hero and Funny Guy?
Well, it's going to be out May 12th in about 15, 20 markets. And then it will also be simultaneously available on iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, all those places. It's available for pre-order now. You can get the special deluxe bonus version with all like the behind the scenes and bloopers and all that. You can buy that now on iTunes, and it'll be like on your computer or TV on May 12th.
Awesome, guys. Congratulations.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, guys.